Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I still remember the feeling of walking into the office back then. It wasn't just a job, it was a passion project. Our team was small, but every single one of us was a prodigy in our field, especially Bo Rhys. Bo was an AI whisperer, a genius at crafting intuitive algorithms that felt like magic. He was the architect of our revolutionary new user interface for an advanced AI platform, and I was leading the design integration. We were on the cusp of something huge, something that would redefine our company's future. I lived for those late nights, the brainstorming sessions, the sheer exhilarating challenge of it all. Our one major obstacle wasn't technical, it was human. Lance Stirling. He was a senior VP, several rungs above us and widely regarded as a corporate titan. Charming, charismatic, and utterly ruthless. Most people saw him as a visionary, but I saw the shadow behind the smile. He had a reputation for absorbing credit, for making projects succeed when they were already guaranteed to, and for having a surprisingly high turnover rate in his own teams. He was untouchable, primarily because he knew how to play the corporate game better than anyone. For a while, Lance was just a distant figure. Then, our AI platform started turning heads, and suddenly he took an intense interest. Too intense. He began to insinuate himself into our project, specifically targeting Bo. Bo, for all his brilliance, was introverted and struggled with direct confrontation, especially with someone as imposing as Lance. Slowly, subtly, Lance started to undermine him. He'd suggest minor code changes that subtly broke dependencies, forget to approve crucial pull requests, and frequently give Bo contradictory feedback in a public forum, making Bo appear inconsistent. Worse, Bo confided in me that Lance had started subtly altering his unique algorithmic components, renaming variables, and claiming they were optimizations from his own R&D team. He was stealing Bo's intellectual property, intending to rebrand parts of our project as his own if it went well, and blame Bo if it failed. Bo was a wreck. He started having panic attacks, his sleep became non-existent, and the spark in his eyes dulled. He was convinced he was failing, that his genius was a fluke. He begged me not to tell anyone, especially not HR. He felt that going up against Lance Stirling would ruin his career forever, but I couldn't stand by. My project was falling apart, my friend was crumbling, and I knew what Lance was doing was deliberate and malicious. That's when I decided Lance Stirling had to go down. I swore to myself I'd protect Bo and our work. My plan was simple, if excruciatingly dangerous. I couldn't accuse, I had to prove. I would become Lance's shadow, his unwitting collaborator. I volunteered to be the primary liaison between Bo's technical team and Lance's executive oversight, framing it as a way to streamline communication. This gave me a direct line into his machinations. Every single interaction became a data point. I ensured all crucial decisions and feedback from Lance were in writing, forcing him to commit to his instructions via email or our internal chat system. When he gave verbal instructions, I'd follow up with an email. Just confirming our discussion. You'd like X, Y, and Z implemented by Tuesday, correct? I documented every code change, every version control commit, every meeting minute. I set up robust, hidden version control backups of Bo's original algorithms, creating an immutable ledger of his true work versus Lance's subtle alterations. I cross-referenced dates, times, and instructions. I even started subtly recording specific, egregious verbal comments from Lance during our one-on-one meetings, legal in my state with single-party consent, thankfully, focusing on his contradictory statements and thinly veiled insults towards Bo's capabilities. It was a month and a half of intense, clandestine data collection. I saw firsthand how he deliberately introduced bugs, delayed critical component integrations, and manufactured false performance metrics, all while preparing to unveil his improved version of Bo's algorithms as part of a strategic pivot. The evidence I amassed was damning. A meticulous journal detailing every instance of sabotage, printouts of emails where he gave conflicting directives, chat logs showing his attempts to subtly diminish Bo's contributions, and most critically, forensic evidence from our version control system proving his deliberate alteration and attempted intellectual property theft of Bo's core algorithms, which I had backed up independently. When I finally walked into Renee Peters' office in HR, I didn't just have a complaint. I had a fully compiled, irrefutable dossier. Renee, a no-nonsense professional, initially looked surprised to see me, but her expression quickly shifted to grave seriousness as I laid out the evidence. I didn't just present the technical logs. I explained the emotional toll on Bo, the project delays, and the financial implications of Lance's intentional sabotage. Renee didn't waste a second. She immediately brought in the head of HR and our legal counsel. They pored over my documentation, their faces growing increasingly grim. They dispatched it to perform an independent audit of Lance's communications and project files. That's when the true scale of his malfeasance began to surface. It corroborated my version control logs, uncovering not only the sabotage, but also finding evidence of Lance attempting to sell snippets of Bo's unique code to an external contact for personal gain, a blatant breach of company policy and a serious legal offense. The fallout was swift and devastating. Within 24 hours, Lance Stirling was suspended. The internal investigation, fueled by my evidence and the IT findings, quickly unearthed a pattern of similar professional misconduct over the years that Lance had managed to suppress. Other junior developers and project managers, emboldened by my action, came forward with their own stories of Lance taking credit for their work or actively sabotaging projects that didn't align with his personal agenda. A week later, I received an email from Renee. Lance Stirling had been terminated immediately, without a severance package. There was also mention of potential legal action from the company regarding intellectual property theft. The official company line was violations of company policy and professional conduct, but everyone knew what it meant. Word spread like wildfire throughout our industry. Lance, once the untouchable corporate titan, became a pariah. His meticulously crafted reputation was shattered. I heard through the grapevine that he tried to apply for positions at rival firms, but his name was poisoned. The last I checked, he was attempting to launch a consulting firm that, from all accounts, was struggling to get off the ground, having burned bridges with every major player in the field. He went from a high-flying VP to a desperate freelancer overnight. Bo, meanwhile, flourished. With Lance out of the picture, our project not only recovered but soared. Bo received the recognition he deserved for his brilliant algorithms, and his confidence returned stronger than ever. He's now leading a critical new division, and his career is on an upward trajectory that Lance could only have dreamed of. Seeing Lance's career implode, knowing I protected Bo and our work, was the most satisfying justice I've ever had the privilege to deliver. Some people think corporate revenge isn't real revenge, but when you destroy someone's legacy and livelihood for their deliberate cruelty, it feels incredibly real.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.